All right, hello world. It is Saturday, November 11th, 2023, Veterans Day. He is Alfredzo Nash. I am Dr. Joseph J. Burt Miller Jr., and we are your hosts for the Cyber Coffee Hour. We are two cyber experts from Mount Vernon, New York, sharing with you our experiences in this field and also the experiences of others so we all can learn, elevate, and ultimately realize that we all belong in this space. Alfredzo, how you doing, brother?
Good, brother. How you doing? Again, yes, happy Veterans Day to everyone out there that served. We are recording
Absolutely.
on Veterans Day, so shout out to everyone that served. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well, and yes, today is I think it's a perfect day to record. Like I said, Veterans Day. Me being a veteran myself, 4 years with the Air Force. I definitely have a great appreciation for our veterans, our servicemen and women who have served or are currently serving. Yeah, definitely want to say, Happy Veterans Day. I salute you all. All right.
So yeah, let's go and unpack that. I mean, you said you're an Air Force veteran. Can you share some of your experiences, how they might be related to your current cyber journey today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I So kind of even going back, I think this even ties back to even high school actually,
Nice,
because the Air Force Junior RTC program had started, back in Mount Vernon High School, and at that time it was a new idea, it was a new program being instituted, and I had to give credit to my mom because she brought me down to that sign up table. So we're doing this. So I was like, all right. So and you know, ne- needless to say, doing that, I didn't know how much it would have an impact in my life, even up till now, because just from all the experiences I've learned, like field trips, going to DC and stuff like that, and also just learning everything about the Air Force, even aircraft, and we had some great leadership, our great instructors during that time, just really preparing you, getting you in that mental state for the military. Even if you weren't going to join it, it still gives you still those that mentality in you as you're preparing. So so one thing I did learn was that, if you do at least 3 years of junior ROTC, that actually counts as credit if you do decide to join the military, after high school, and to where after you finish basic training, instead of starting out as airman basic, especially if you don't have any college credit, because you get paid according to your rank. So at airman basic, that's like no stripes on your sleeve. At least for the Air Force, I know different branches have their rank insignia at different spots, but for the Air Force, it's on the sleeve. And but for me, doing all 4 years of Air Force Junior RTC, that allowed me to max out. So I started out as airman first class. So had a nice little bump in
nice.
money, and again, and then from there, it really it just really set me up, just for the future, because doing that, and then also just starting with the Air Force, I had every intention of becoming almost really a lifer. I wanted to be an officer when I was in the military, but um, at the time when it came towards the end of my first term after the 4 years, the Air Force at the time had a program called it was called force shaping, and what that is essentially is I had to decide whether to cross train to a different career field or accept an honorable discharge, and this was the Air Force's way to try to, I guess, even out some of uh, the need for, I guess, personnel in different career fields that needed more people. So at the time, I was young, and the only thing I was thinking about, like, man, I don't want to go to tech school again. So I was like, I'll take the honorable discharge.
So,
Um,
so, so hold on. So force shaping was that was the Air Force curving out where they were putting personnel at the time, or was that something that was kind of like we're shrinking down our effort and moving it to another focus?
Right. Yeah. It was the Air Force's way to like to balance out the landscape of like personnel amongst career fields that maybe that was short of like that needed more people in those certain jobs. So yeah, so like I said, like for me, because when I joined the Air Force, I did HVAC. I didn't do IT. I wasn't
Oh,
really
nice.
exposed to
Okay.
IT yet. I was doing HVACs, and HVAC is heat and ventilation, air conditioning. So I was an HVAC technician. Definitely learned a lot. Definitely is a great trade, great skill, especially as a homeowner. So many skills that really combine into one. Because not only you learn about, like I said, heat and AC, you also learn how to do electrical and plumbing. And again, you're able to kind of translate that to just even many jobs around the house, certain things that may go wrong. You're more mechanically inclined to be able to do those things for yourself, and save yourself a lot of money ultimately, especially this day and age. That's I think we're all trying to save some money. So,
Yeah, very cool.
um, but yeah, yeah. So I did 4 years. My first duty station was in Osan Air Base, Korea. Had a lot of fun there. Spent a year there, then came back to the States to finish out my term at McGuire Air Force Base in South Jersey. So I definitely had a lot of fun. I enjoyed my time there. I think I definitely wanted more. To be honest with you, uh, I definitely could have seen myself being a 20 plus year, even maybe 30 plus year. I don't know, but no. But that's the way things shook out for me. But like I said, we'll see. You never know. Things may change for the future. So um, maybe different opportunities may come up. But for right now, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay, so knowing you a little bit for our listeners, let's bolt on that experience in the Air Force and try to see where did you start your learning of IT from that journey.
Yeah. So really, my very early experience learning IT was really from my uncle. Um, so my uncle Baswick in New Jersey at the time. So when we were still living in New York, so my father's brother, at the time we would, it was like little mini trips because going from New York to Jersey didn't really take long. We'd go to
Road
Paterson, New
trips.
Jersey. Yeah. I mean, I used to love it, man. We had the minivan. I sit in the back and, just chill out. But, uh, but no, I always look forward to going because whenever we visited, um, my uncle, so he was like an IT technician. Honestly, I don't really recall what his official title was, but I knew he was, into computing. And
In New
when
Jersey.
in New
Sorry.
Jersey,
Okay,
yes.
gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, so as we took like about an hour road trip going there, like I say, we go in the house and like I just see computer parts all over the place.
Nice.
And yeah, man. And being young, I was very inquisitive, and I would always ask about, like I said, I see printers, towers, because these are all things that he was doing repairs for. And so as he was working on them, I just asked him questions on it, and and honestly, I'm just very thankful that he didn't tell me to get out of here, kid. You bother me, like
Right, go kick
he
rocks, nephew.
right. No, he definitely took the time to explain things to me, and that stuck with me, that resonated with me, and honestly, that fed my curiosity for me to learn things on my own. I was tinkering with like old computers, back home and taking them apart, seeing how they work. Um, that even led to me even starting up like my own little side hustle after I got out the military. And when my first civil government position was working at the Veterans Affairs Hospital in New Jersey.
Mm.
So again, I was still doing HVAC. This is not IT yet. Still doing HVAC as my primary role.
So
But I
can
still
we
had a love. I'm sorry, good.
sorry, can we pause it? So HVAC was your way into the VA job, but it wasn't an IT job.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay, very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. So yeah. When I joined, it was through HVAC because I was using the experience I had from the Air Force.
Mm.
I had a little a break in between. Like I was doing like general maintenance like at the time for like the apartment I lived in at the time. But yeah, well, when I got my first civil government position at the East Orange VA, that was through for HVAC. So
Nice.
I was still doing HVAC primarily, and but again, I still had a love for IT, a curiosity for IT. I still want to learn. So like, so yeah, so just taking from what I learned from my uncle, and kind of building off of that, I started up like my own little side hustle. Like I was really professional with it too. I even created like my own like work order sheet. Like
Nah.
so I was doing like PC repair for folks, and so like just nothing too crazy, but like laptop repair mainly. People had issues with, and I remember one issue. I think I remember this one lady. She asked me to fix her laptop because her kid had a toy in the laptop and closed the laptop lid on it, so it just messed up the screen. So she was getting ready to buy a whole new, laptop. I was like, no, you don't need to do that. So, I took it home, researched it, got the replacement screen, changed it out, tested it, good to go. Wrote up the specs, wrote up the invoice, and, a satisfied customer. So, and I think also too, doing that really built up my confidence within the field, knowing to say, okay, this is something I could really do. Um, so just just having that curiosity, that determination, not necessarily needing anyone to say, hey, you should do this or that. It was just really on my own. Just something, um, and I have to say the influence from again, I give a lot of credit to my uncle because it wasn't necessarily like he was out like purposely, like teaching me on purpose. He was just doing what he do, but I was able to see it and be exposed to it, and like again, as I said, that really sparked my curiosity and making me want to get into that. Um,
That's very
so,
cool,
so
man.
yeah,
That
man,
sounds very
thank you.
cool. So that curiosity was sparked in your day job, let's say, which you also turned into a side hustle for not just the monetary side. You had a genuine interest in how to do the IT stuff, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that sounds cool, man.
And what pushed me um, to really, to now just say I want to get into IT professionally. So while I was still doing HVAC, so I worked at the VA doing HVAC at least 5 years or so, and during this time I was studying for my bachelor's, computer information systems,
Nice. Where were you
and
studying?
where
Yeah.
St. Leo University, so
Cool,
online
man.
school. They're
Cool.
based out in Florida.
Oh, okay, cool, man.
So yeah, during this time I was studying for my bachelor's degree. Um, and I definitely recall a time when I was working with one of our operators, and uh, I remember his name, but I don't know if I want to put him out there. But
No,
yeah,
let's save his privacy for
yeah.
that. I'll put you on.
but but the funny thing is, I think he even gave me some push too to get out, because, and so I'm getting to that. So yeah, so I remember we were sitting down, and one of the operators, he had one of those, like those pill separators, that have like the pills like for each day.
Right.
And mind you, this is me, I don't know, like in like early 20s. So this is after I came back from Korea. I'm now working at well, this is after, excuse me, this is after Air Force. This is the VA. So I'm, like I said, I'm in my 20s, young. And I'm asking him, say, what are you doing with that? Like, what do you take that for? And he's like, oh man, I take this for pain every day.
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, I was like, no,
This is at the
nah,
VA.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's I was like, I gotta go, because, and then also too, like contractors that work with us, from time to time I see them, coming to work just limping, some all different type of ailments, because while
These that
HVAC is a great
yeah,
trade,
sorry. Yep, you got it.
yeah, sorry, yeah, while HVAC is a great trade, um, it does it does take a lot out of you. It is a physical demanding job, especially
Right.
in the summertime. I have to lug like heavy compressors, heavy tools, dealing with different chemicals. You do have to be careful to make sure you are wearing your proper PPE. Um, yeah, it can take a toll on your body. I think it is a young man, young woman's game. But after a while, if as you're getting older, I don't think that's something. Now, if maybe on the management side, yes, but if you're still out there doing the physical labor portions, it can really break you down. And I was kind of foreseeing that, just like I said, just seeing some of the older guys at the shop coming in. I was like, I gotta make moves. So I started really ramping up. I started coming to work with my book bag on, with my books, just studying. I was studying like during my lunch, like any free time I had. It was to the point where my supervisor, he was calling me professor because I was reading books all the I was reading my books all the time.
Hey, that's funny you say that. I have a story. I'll tell you a separate story about that. But yeah, that I can relate to that. That would make somebody sharpen up. Like, what's that kid doing over
Yeah, man. But it was just showing my motivation. I was, I knew I was determined to really get out of it. It's While I appreciated that part of my life, going through that, learning that field, learning that trade, but I knew that's not something I want to do for the rest of my life either. So, so with that said, I was studying, and then also I was applying for jobs, internally within the hospital, within the VA,
there? Nice.
and I was getting rejected a lot. It honestly, man, it was to the point where I almost gave up because I I was getting rejections. I don't know, these rejection letters. I was getting like, I don't know, like 7, 8 rejection letters, and I was like, man, I don't think I'm gonna make it.
And this is internally. So you're a HAVAC personnel. You're schooling up. So I'm assuming you adjusted the resume and all that. And then
Yeah,
you said, all right, let me hit it internal and go for the different. How did you identify the different roles internally, if you don't mind?
yeah. So I was, of course, was utilizing, good old USA jobs.
Okay. Okay.
Looking at seeing the jobs that were coming out, and each time I saw these IT specialist positions, I was definitely catering, you know, tailoring my resume for that. And also too, as I was doing that, definitely trying to skill up each time, trying to, uh, enhance my skills so I can be a stronger candidate, um, during that time, as I was applying. And it wasn't until, it wasn't until like that last time where like, when I was really on the brink of saying, man, I don't think I'm gonna make it, I kept doing it anyway.
Ah,
And then
yes.
and then I finally got through. I
There it
finally
is.
got I finally got through. I had the interview. The interview went really well. It was like a panel. I think it was like, I mean, this is years ago now, so bear with me. I think it was like at least 3 people on the panel. But I do recall they said they did like my answers, and then I remember I was with my best friend that I served in the Air Force with, uh, Steve Remy. We were, uh, we were going off campus for lunch. Cause typically we would go out for lunch usually on Fridays. That was like our treat day. And
Nice.
I remember we were out, and I got a call from HR, and they told me that I got the position. I was like, yo, man, I almost cried
Uh,
because I just remember all those rejections leading up to that, and then to finally get that now, I think that's what made me appreciate it even more. Because I think if I just got it on the first try, I don't think I would have had that same appreciation, or to say, I really worked for this. I really felt it because honestly, man, I almost felt like quitting, like
mm.
legit. Like I thought, I was like, man, I guess I'm not good enough for this. I don't know, but I kept working and I kept pushing through, and I finally got over make that, got over that huddle, got over that hill, I should say, and I remember my first supervisor, um, Gary Giordano. He was my first supervisor, one who gave me a chance, and I've and all throughout my career, I've always kept up with him. I mean, now he's retired.
Okay, good because we
So
we were name dropping. You know.
yeah, yeah, no, yeah, he's retired, but he knows. I mean, and I share this to say it is important to recognize those who've helped you along the way, those who've
Gotcha.
given you a chance, those who've, um, like I said, who see potential in you. And Gary was definitely one who definitely showed that potential. He saw potential in me. He always gave me great advice. One of the things he always told me to, you know, pursue my certifications. Um, he said to be I may be paraphrasing now, but he would tell me that to be so good that it'll be hard for someone to say no.
Yeah, I like that.
So
That's dope.
I've always kept that in my mind, and like I said, he gave me a chance. He would assign me to projects, different jobs where a lot of older guys that I work with, they were like, "Oh man, I don't want to do that." They reject it. And me, being new, being green, I was like, who am I to reject? Any jobs? Because this is how I learned. This is how you get better. This is how you get your experience. You
Yeah,
got to do it. You got to do the work. So I mean, it's whenever the something came up, I raised my hand like, all right, I'll do it. You want me to do this conference? Okay, I'll do it. Whatever it was, man. Like just getting that experience because may not understand it at that point in time, but it'll definitely serve you as you progress in your career, and those are the things that really helped me, to this day now. Just getting out there, don't hesitate. Definitely, like I said, do what you got to do to get that experience, and also too, as you are making moves, making strides to help others that are coming up along the way as well. Because again, I I needed help. I had people who helped me as I progressed through each stop of my career. So who am I to shut the door on people coming behind me? So um, it's it is something that I definitely always lean on. I think we need more of that within this industry because I think Alfredzo, we've seen probably our fair share of like gatekeeping as it pertains to this industry. As we're talking about cybersecurity, and that's something we want to change, man. Because there are people who are very hungry, who want to learn, who want to do great things within this field, but they're not getting the chance to do it.
I
And
totally
and
agree. It's
yeah,
humbling to even hear you saying the drive factor, and not to cut you. Sorry about that.
no, no,
It's
you're good.
it's it's humbling to hear you say the drive factor because just like we said in the last episode, for a long time I felt like I was the only one really signing up for the stuff other people didn't want to do, or even
Mhm.
and I see the parallels too. Like I respect the mindset and like when somebody else didn't want to do it, you kind of stepped in and was like, all right, I need to learn this. Let me go do it. So that's something like even when we came together to do the other episode, I didn't realize that until now. That's the linking point, right? That's the
Yeah,
linking point. We're both in that same mindset. So that's pretty interesting.
no, no,
So
no,
so how did
absolutely.
that how did that play? So from that first you said first IT job, how did that I guess evolve into your cybersecurity experience today?
Sure. Yeah. Uh, so I took out the job. My first IT job was IT specialist. I was like a GS9, and then
So wait, back up for those of us that might be listening. I know it. I know I could figure it out what that is. Could we break down the GS9 there?
right. Yeah. So within the government, we are on a set pay scale. Um, so GS, that stands for General Schedule. It's standardized pay scale sets set out by OPM. So you can always look it up.
Right.
OPM.gov. It's really no secret. You could see, well, like once you know what somebody's like GS level is, you can look it up and see what they're making.
Right.
Now,
Okay.
It's a GS level, then a step. There's like increments within each level. So yeah, so for example, it could be like GS9 step 3. So then the whole there's a chart again. It's all on opm.gov. You can look it up. It's like I said,
Nice.
no
Yep.
secret.
Yep.
You can look it up and see what that person is making. Now there may be a little variances. It may be that individual may have like a different incentives that will not show on the scale, but you can still get a general sense of what they'd be averaging, or a ballpark figure more or less. Um, yeah. So for me at that time, I started as a GS9. I believe me back then. I don't know, maybe like 60K, maybe
Oh, well,
as
yeah.
far as I can remember.
Right. And that was your baseline and position and salary now, right? That's what
Right.
you were at the. Got it. Okay.
So then after that, kind of moving on, I stayed there for about a year and some change, year and a half maybe. Um, moved to Nebraska. Um, I worked at the VA hospital there. Uh, I was doing around research. I was doing HVAC for the research department there. I stayed there. I don't know, probably like another year and a half, maybe. Then I worked. Then I went over to work at Offutt Air Force Base in Omaha, Nebraska. There, I served as a system administrator.
What?
Uh,
What?
yeah, so I was supporting the contracting squadron while I was there. It was 55th contracting squadron. So it was myself and my coworker. It was just us two against the world. So we stayed in the server room, mind you. In a server room, AC is running all year round. All seasons. So you got to bundle up. During the winter. And I will say, I think that is when I did have, um, I guess, optical issues. As far as, well, what I mean by that is, because of the constant AC or exposure to that, it did cause my eyes to dry out,
Oh, okay.
like get redness and things like that. But I mean, I'm fine now. But it just made me remember that. But no, like my coworker at the time, he was great. He was, man, he was. I was so glad to work with him because he has so much knowledge, and I was just being able to be with him every day, just learn from him and just watch what he do, and also that's again just other ways of how you get better. Just work, being around people who are doing more and just learn from them, watching them, ask questions. Don't just sit there and just just think it's gonna work out. Like if you're unsure about something, ask.
Right.
Because I
Right. I
think a lot of
agree.
people they are willing to help out. But you gotta put yourself out there and then just say, hey, I need help on this, or can you show me how to do this, or whatever the case is. And
Would you
that's how
say
you
that's
improve.
sorry, go ahead. Would you say
No,
that's
no.
yeah? Would you say that's a parallel today? Is having that person that can basically we know it as on the job training, but would you say that parallel still exists, or is what built up your experience in cybersecurity today, or are you becoming that person that answers the questions now?
Well, I've definitely become the person that is answering the questions,
Right. Right.
but also too, I'm still asking as well.
Right.
But I have noticed there is a maybe impatience in the field now,
Oh, I mean to
where
laugh, but yeah, you're right. I'm one of
yeah,
them too. You know.
yeah, I think being able to let people fail is not, I don't want to say tolerated, but that's why I kind of lean towards impatient.
Right.
I don't think there's a patience for it anymore, which I think is not helpful because
Hmm.
I mean, people who are, like I said, people who are hungry, who want to learn. I mean, they're gonna fail. They're gonna
Right.
stumble.
Right.
But when you do fail and stumble, you learn from that, and that's how you get better. But if you're not allowing someone to do that or giving them a little bit of leash to let them fail, and also as you're doing that, um, you're teaching and helping them along the way. If we're not doing that, we're not, especially if the grand vision is for us to have a very strong cyber workforce. If we're not helping those that want to be helped, that want to do the work, and like I said, they're not going to be cyber experts right out the gate. They're not going to be experts right out from college, or or even after just one certification. Like,
Mm,
I think it really comes down to being in the field, getting that experience, getting real experience, and like I said, kind of failing through, and
right.
then as you're getting through it, you get better. You learn from others, learn from those who have been doing it longer than you. Work with them, watching them. Like I said, like OJT. On the job training for those uninitiated. Uh, but yeah, I think I think that's disappointing. I'd say because I think that discourages even like people who do want to get in this field, but they may feel like it's intimidating because they're not um, learning it fast enough.
Right. Right.
So
So
yeah,
from your initial role with the folks that helped you learn the specialist role, where was the cutover to, hey, now I want to specialize in cybersecurity? Or which opportunities, based on your experience, got you from the you said IT specialist GS9 through to where you are today? And you don't have to go exactly into much details because I know, but for our listeners,
yeah,
where did your cutoff in standard, or like I like to say traditional IT, start meeting that track and training to getting into cybersecurity?
yeah. It would have to be right after I finished at Offutt, and then so I'd leave an Offutt and then get in a position at DC3, and that's the DoD Cybercrime Center in Maryland. That from that point on, that's where I got into cyber. Really loving the field, get exposed to a lot of great work. I'm still doing like sysadmin work, but getting work with analysts, cyber analysts in the field. Learn again, just being a sponge and absorbing, man. Because you don't even have to like necessarily be working that particular job, but being close to them and watching them, you could learn a lot too. Just being like a room, same room, or even next door to some of those folks who are doing some great work. Just being exposed to that's a great benefit, and I say even a privilege because um, you're getting almost free training. I'd say because like I said, and also too, you can pull one of those guys and gals to the side and just ask questions
While
and,
you
and just
grab a
learn from
cup of
them.
coffee and hash it.
Absolutely.
Right,
No,
right.
that's serious.
Yeah,
You
I
you
get it. I
can
get it.
you could be having lunch with someone outside, and you don't even work with them. You may not. You may have two different job descriptions, but you guys in the same building, and you can learn from each other. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And be like, oh, maybe that's something I want to do. Maybe that's something I want to try to cross over into. As you learn from it, So yeah, I definitely had a great experience working at DC3, and then from there moved on to DHS, Homeland Security in Virginia. Uh, Now there, I was doing more. It kind of deviated a bit from the cyber focus because I was doing more with biometrics, which is a great field, great area. But it wasn't fully cyber.
Gotcha.
But it's still, that experience was still good, still helped me. And then I served about 5 years there at DHS, and then my last 2 years, I worked as a project manager, IT project manager there before
So
my
you run the full gauntlet. So you went
yeah
from IT specialist, sysadmin. What did you do at DC3 again?
sysadmin as well.
Sysadmin. So you double dipped in that. And then you came on at DHS. What was the role again? You came from a sysadmin role into the biometric focus.
Right.
Were you still a
Yeah. So
sysadmin
so
there? Or?
like no, like program analyst.
Okay, program. I got you. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So and then from there. So after my time there, then to my current position with the NSA.
Wait,
So
time out, time out. Just let's pause for that.
yeah.
Okay, let's let's go. Let's get back. So all right. So now we talking, right? So you went from 5 years. Congratulations on that, because that's something I'll say for all the listeners. I haven't even gotten 5 years, right? 5 years. It seems to be that baseline of like, I know where everything's going. I know how to do this thing. I know where I exist in this thing and who I can train. Right. So
Right.
for me, yo, kudos, pat yourself on the back for that, because a lot of folks don't even make it to that 5 year baseline, I like to say. So you hit 5 years, and then you said, all right, program analyst. Then you went to project management. What brought you in, what brought your interest from that into project management? So how did you get interested in that?
Man, that's
Before
a
we even
funny.
talk about the other one, because the other I didn't even think you was gonna mention that. So
Oh, yeah. No, so that's actually funny. Funny. There's a funny story attached to that. So I was so before I got into project management, I was again, as I mentioned, as I was doing biometrics, it wasn't necessarily cyber, and I still had a desire to get back in a more cyber centric environment. And at the time, I remember I was like looking for like detail roles, and a detail is like you're doing like a temporary, you're working in a different position for like a temporary period of time, but you still belong to the role that you were hired on, if that makes sense. So you're
Mhm.
working temporarily in other areas so you can gain experience in that job, but you still belong officially to, like I said, the job you were hired on. So the
Mm.
job I was hired on to do was biometrics, but I was looking for details into cyber where I can, work maybe 4 6 months or so out of the year and gain that experience, and I could legitimately put on my resume because I worked in that field, worked in that area for a period of time. So I remember I was just making connections, and so talk with some contacts like in like at big DHS. And when we say big DHS, that's like the headquarters in DC.
So in private sector, we would say enterprise, or I get what you're
Yeah.
saying. So that's the big entity over everybody else.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so yeah, I was talking. So they had a ISSO detail,
Ding, ding,
and
ding.
that's
It makes
and
sense now.
those who don't know, that's an information system security officer.
Hmm.
So excuse me. Yeah, so they had a detail for that. I spoke with the person I was heading up that program. He looked at my resume. He was ready to bring me on. He was excited. So of course, like again, I still belong to my biometrics role, so I had to get permission from my supervisor. And mind you, I had no issue with my supervisor. We had a great relationship. So I was like, okay, that's all I gotta do. Just like she has to sign off.
That's it.
So I was like,
Okay.
all
Boss
right,
battle.
cool.
Okay.
Yeah. So okay, so I'm gonna go and talk to my supervisor and explain to her, and I think we should be good to go. Because everything was good to go with DH big DHS side. They were ready for me and everything like that. And again in my mind, it's like, man, this is really what's gonna get me on track to, like I said, getting back more into a cyber focused environment. So I bring it to my supervisor, and she was like, nah.
Oh,
And I was
wait
like,
a second.
I
Wait a
was like,
second. So wait a
yeah.
minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Now we're talking, Joseph. So you went to your previous supervisor, got blessed in, and said, okay, yeah, you can make that transition. So who? So now you're on the other
No,
side.
no, no, no. She didn't know yet.
Oh, okay, okay, got it,
But
got it.
I needed her sign
Yeah,
off
I see what you're saying.
in order to, because like I said, because that means I have to leave my current position.
Mm,
I forget how it was, like 4 or 6 months. I can't remember. So you had to get sign off.
gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, so that was my supervisor permission was the last piece because I
Oh
did
man.
everything else.
Oh man. See,
So
that's the one
yeah,
that gets me, man.
yeah.
That's the one that gets me too, man. Like, wow. Okay.
So I yeah, I go and ask, like I said, I bring it up to her and say, hey, this is position, and mind you, like this is on. It wasn't necessarily new. Like I've always been saying that I want to get back in a more
Mm,
cyber centric role, and she was like, nah, and the reason was because she was putting me in for to work as the assistant project manager role for our um like our biometric capability program. I don't want to put out the name, but it was to work that project for DHS, and because our current, well, at the time, the person that was in that position, she was leaving, and so it opened up, and
mm.
I had no clue. It wasn't necessarily really an interest of mine to say that's why I was looking at, because again, my focus was on,
Cyber.
like I said, making the contacts with like other folks doing, especially this ISSO detail.
Right.
And so I'm not even thinking about, that. So when
Project
she brought it,
management.
yeah,
So wait, we gotta unpack that too. So for anybody that wants to listen, I might want to know, when I hear project management, I hear your PMO, I hear the business analysts, I hear the scrum masters, I might even hear project lead on the non-government side, right? Because I'm still doing it in my career too, to map these different, I guess, specialties. When I hear project manager, it encompasses all of those roles. What was the differentiator, or the line drawn between the person leaving, the program analyst leaving, and those roles I just mentioned? Was it just you do everything, or that person was doing everything?
no, no. So that person who left, so yeah, she was a assistant. She was the assistant project manager. I would still take over, and I was replacing her, like taking
Okay,
her over her role.
and that was called a program analyst,
No, no, no. This was the project manager.
project manager. Wow. Okay. Okay, I missed that.
So
Sorry.
so I was, yeah, my previous, so when I was doing the biometrics, that was the program analyst role.
Got it.
But then getting over to kind of almost like being voluntold for this position. This was project management now.
Got it.
So this
Okay.
is like for the last 2 years of my time at DHS.
And that's a whole
So
different track than even the
right,
previous role.
yeah,
Okay. Got it. Got it.
right. So
Wow.
this is
Wow.
completely different. I never been interested in project management before ever. So,
Right.
but no, she put me in for it. She felt I would, I could handle it, and I have to be honest, man. Like I was mad at her. I was upset because
This is
the
like starting
reason,
to level over, right?
uh, because
Sorry.
no, it's because I was like right there. I was
Right.
really about to get to that. Like I said, that position. I think that I felt that was going to really get me on track for really what I want to do. And it was kind of like she was just standing in the way and kind of preventing that. So yeah, to be
we know
honest,
it. We know that level up tactic.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
This is
man.
legit what we was talking about. This is that's a perfect example, Joseph. Yeah, this is the boss battle right here. Yeah. Or was, excuse me, was the boss battle for you.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but no, yeah, for a while, honestly, I was, upset, but then, I was in my feelings. I ain't gonna lie, I was,
Salty and whatnot. I get you. I
I
get it, man.
was,
I understand, yo. I
but,
understand.
but then eventually, I got over it because, like, no, okay, now this is the job I gotta do. So now I just gotta reset and get ready for this. So as I'm as I'm working with, because I did now, one thing I did benefit from was that the person who I was taking over from, I did have some lead time before she left, so I was able to work with her. She was able to share some things, some tactics that she's used in the role to help me to get started. Maybe the different teams or like the different POCs who I need to be in contact with for this aspects of the project.
Mm,
So that helped, immensely. And she even mentioned like different trainings I should get involved with to help me. So I do recall, like, as I got started and now she's gone, I'm officially in the role, and just sitting in like a couple of like the briefings and meetings and stuff like that, and I'm just hearing all the this project management lingo, and I'm like, yo, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, it's a whole different language.
oh my god, yeah.
So I'm like, I said, if I'm gonna really do this, be proficient in this, I gotta get smart in it, and that's so. that equated to me going for the PMP, the project management professional certification, because that was, as far as within project management, that's like the gold standard for project management.
Got it.
So I spoke with my training department, and those listening, as when you do get in your role, leverage your training department. Don't pay for these certs and classes yourself.
Ditto, bingo. I
Um,
get, especially if the company has the ability to train out and send you to school. Yeah, don't pay for it up front. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yep. So one of my training departments said, "Hey, there's this boot camp for PNP. I want to get this. So help me to strengthen my skills as I'm in this role." So they approved it. So I started the class, did a week long. And those if you those who've taken project management, no, excuse me, boot camp courses before, it's pretty much the same. Like they give you a ton of information for like over like the course of like 4 or 5 days, and at the end they expect you to take the test. Uh, there's
man.
no
That
way I
sounds
was
like
ready to take the exam.
yeah, that sounds like a separate episode too. I'm not a huge fan of the boot camps. I mean,
Yeah,
because of the pace, the expectation, the monetary obligation. There's a lot more stakes than
yeah,
they tell you up front. And then
they're expensive. They're expensive. They're expensive. It's
yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
info, especially if it's
mm,
the first time seeing that material. It's going to be very overwhelming.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, but again, the department paid for it, so I was okay.
Okay.
But I know there are those who do lean on those project boot camps, and they're paying out of pocket. It is a lot of money, man. There's
Yeah.
really no ways to get around it. It is a lot. But yeah, so I did that. Uh, I and then they asked me at the end of the week to say, "Hey, ready to take exams?" Like, man, no way, no way. So that's so I just started just studying on my own. But then I knew, just being honest with myself, I wasn't studying consistently for it to stick, and I needed some sort of structure. And that's what led to me starting the study hall on Discord.
Yeah. Okay. So now that circles. We'll circle back to that too. We have to
Right,
probably cover
yeah,
that on another one.
yeah,
It makes sense
yeah.
now.
I can go more in depth with that. Yeah, like I said, for a different episode. But that's what got me. That's how I passed it after spending time with the Discord and those who were on it. So after doing that, I passed the exam, and then while at work at DHS, I just started, as I'm forming relationships, as people knowing me to be in the position now. Um, and getting used to the person who was in the role, that now that she's gone, just I think everyone is getting adjusted to that. Um, I just started feeling more started getting in my groove. Started as time go on, get more experience, just learning. I was feeling more confident in the role. I felt more proficient. And again, I'm hearing that terminology. It didn't sound so foreign to me anymore. Now I know what it means. And even having the material, the books and everything like that, I was able to even look it up. So that helps a lot too.
Mm.
You know,
That's the armor I'm talking about. That
right?
by the way, yeah, that is definitely the armor for sure.
Yeah. So having those books, reading up on it, and I just, like I said, being able to be more proficient in the role and working through it. So just fast forward, like I said, 2 years, and um, then that led to me, put it in for, well, truth be told, the NSA was not my first choice. Um,
And listeners, we'll break for
yeah,
we'll break for intermission. Go ahead, unpack that, man.
no, yeah. um, the my I guess quote unquote dream job was to work at CISA. And
Mhm.
that's the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency. So they're like the cyber arm of DHS. Um, so I was applying to their, I don't know, almost for like a year. I was getting interviews and stuff like that, but I just wasn't getting over the hump
So it's like
to
the
get in.
beginning of the career too. It's coming back
Yeah,
up. Yeah, I see.
So I wasn't getting through, and mind you, at this point in time, I had recently finished my doctorate. I finished my doctorate like the end of 2021, and I was feeling down. I was like, man, like I did all this stuff, and I still can't get in, and you know, and I remember, so one of my contacts on LinkedIn, he's a career coach. He reached out to me, and we got on a call, and basically he gave me the advice to kind of look elsewhere. Not to say that I can come back to it, but maybe to take a different direction, at least temporarily, and then I can always come back.
Circle
And
back. Okay.
he was saying, like, have you ever thought about like the intelligence agencies? And I was like, man, if I'm not getting into CISA, what make you think I'm gonna get into FBI or
Right. The
NSA,
big
CIA,
leagues.
whatever? But I was like, well, at this point in time, I was like, I'll try anything. I was like, all right, man, whatever, I'll do it. So I applied. I applied for like two positions, and one of the positions is the position I have right now with the agency. So, and then after that, man, I went back to him and thanked him, because if he didn't give me that advice, I would have never thought I would not have the confidence to even apply for a position like that. So
Yeah.
I think just a lesson from that is to never, don't doubt yourself. Like you have done a lot, especially, and I'm really talking with like those who have the experience. Like, you have done a lot. Don't put yourself down, or don't let anyone else try to tell you that you can't do it, or whatever the case is. But I think the biggest thing is we do have that internal voice that will stop ourselves before anybody else does, and sometimes our internal voice can be so detrimental. So we have to make sure we also put our internal voice in check too, regardless of what other people say. But
Right.
no, yeah, I went back, thanked him. We went out for drinks because to show my appreciation, and we hung out. Very cool brother, and yeah, like I said, and I always believe in, like I said, giving people their flowers while they're still here. I think that was just something I really learned even from the pandemic from 2020. Since on then, just knowing the fragility of life. We shouldn't praise people after they're already 6 feet in the ground. I think they want to receive those accolades while they're still here to receive them. So that's always been something that's been in my mind now, is to, if someone's helped you, someone who's done something good for you, so someone who's made an impact in your life, whether big or small, let them know. Don't just take it. I mean, but also just let them know like how they've helped you and what they've done to help shape your life, your career. Um, and that way they could also know that what they're doing is good work, and they could also help others along the way, other people that are coming along in their careers as well. So it's very important to, I think, to recognize those who, like I said, helped you or done any sort of impactful thing in your life or career.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's the way. This is the way for sure. Hey, so Joseph, we appreciate that, man. We appreciate that explanation of your journey. More to come. And with that, we'll try to encourage everybody to enjoy and have a happy Veterans Day. And we'll
Yes,
close out with that and stay tuned for the next one. Everyone,
absolutely.
have a good one.
All right, y'all.